Hey guys, what's going on? So today I'm doing a video on Mobile Closer by Raging Bull. So this is run by a guy called Ben Sturgill. So you might have seen the video that I did recently about Ben's Lotto X service. So Lotto X is a really good service that I've been doing. I just started it a few weeks ago. I'm recording my results in this article. So like normal, like always, the links to these articles will be in the description below. So I'll link to the Mobile Closer review and also to the Ben Sturgill Lotto X review. The services are a little bit different, and you'll see, reading the articles, you can see why they're different and how they're different exactly. Lotto X is more, as the name would suggest, like a gamble for 100x, 200x, or percent gains. Whereas the Mobile Closer is a little different. So anyway, go and check out these services. They're pretty cool. I learned a lot about who Ben Sturgill actually is. This is him without his head. It's cropped out for some reason, this image. Kind of silly, I need to fix that. But Mobile Closer by Ben Sturgill. So I didn't know a lot about Ben. So I've been a subscriber and involved with Raging Bull services for probably 5 years now. And Ben's a relatively new addition to the roster at Raging Bull. And in fact, he took over a lot of the services that were originally run by Kyle Dennis. So Kyle originally ran Mobile Closer, Dollar Ace, and a few other ones. And since then, so Kyle's moved on. Ben's taken over a lot of these services, and he seems to have perhaps made this one in particular better than it was when Kyle was running it, which is pretty cool. So Mobile Closer originally was basically it was an options trading service. You basically bought the options for a particular stock. In Kyle's case, it was always Apple. So it was Apple was the only thing he traded. Every day at 3 o'clock, he would start looking at Apple contracts and go long or short overnight based on sort of the overall market, what he sees, happening on the charts. And it was an Apple service. It was pretty interesting. I really like those types of services because you can set aside that last hour of the day to listen to the live stream. And you know what you're going to trade, you just don't know if you're going to go long or short. And the idea with the original Mobile Closer is you would take Apple long or short and then sell it close to the open the next day, hopefully for profits. And it was a cool service. It was fun. It was easy to follow and pretty enlightening with Kyle going through the different strategy, like what you'd see in the market, like overall potential catalysts that could change things overnight a little bit. It was really good. I think Ben's taken it to a whole new level though. So let me tell you what I've found in Mobile Closer over the last week since I've been starting to look at it again. So the idea is still the same. It's a single trade idea in the last hour of the trading day. But it's not limited to Apple anymore. So it can be any of the bigger cap stocks like Meta, AMD, or Apple. So he's opened up to different tickers, which is pretty cool. And I think it makes it a bit better as well because you're not just forced to one ticker. It's kind of a bit more variety to look at different charts and different technical setups, and not just limiting yourself to Apple. So it's still one trade a day. At 3 o'clock he goes live and starts talking about what he's seeing on the charts and picks a trade, and you hold it overnight. So when researching for this article, like I said, I didn't know much about Ben Sturgill, so I actually dug up quite a bit about him. I knew he was a basketball player, so he was a professional basketball player overseas and played in college in the US. And so I knew he was a basketball player, and I knew he was pretty tall. I didn't know he was 6'8" though, so apparently 6'8" tall. This is him right here. So I knew he was a basketball player and I knew he was a trader, but I didn't really know much else about him. So I learned a bit just doing the research. So what I found is he's always been quite entrepreneurial. So he came from a family of teachers, which generally aren't very entrepreneurial, right? So his parents didn't really talk about money. They were both teachers, not quite sure what they taught, but they were kind of like my upbringing. My parents, one was a teacher, one was an engineer, and they were happy and they made some money, but they weren't really entrepreneurial in any way. So I can kind of relate to Ben on that front. Also, I was really into basketball as well, so kind of similar in some ways. So it got me looking into more of what he did. So it was pretty clear, like even as a teenager, he was also very entrepreneurial. And it seems like he has almost like a Rich Dad Poor Dad story going on. I don't know if you're familiar with that book, but Rich Dad Poor Dad, in this article you can go and read it. Highly, highly recommend it if you're entrepreneurial. Maybe you're not, you're just starting to get into trading and sort of entrepreneurial stuff. He read Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is this brilliant book by Robert Kiyosaki, and it'll change the way you think about your life, your passions, your earning potential, your income and things. I read it probably 10 years ago, and it pretty much shifted me away from the path that I was on to more entrepreneurial stuff. And it looks like the same thing happened to Ben. So like I said, he didn't come from a wealthy family, but he did meet a couple that were also teachers, but they were also entrepreneurial. So they were fairly wealthy. He doesn't really go into the details, but they had enough money. They owned a farm. They obviously had a lot of luxury items or something, because you could tell that they were very wealthy. And it was them that actually gave him this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, I think. So throughout college, though, he also started different companies. So he started a software company in his early 20s, a real estate company, and also a rental company. And it sounds like what he did is he then sold those and became a full-time trader. So at the same time, he moved to Florida. He has 3 kids. And from what I could read, he's a super hard worker. And you kind of have to be if you're trading professionally, but also part of Raging Bull, where he's running all these services and he has all these students and subscribers. So what I read is he wakes up super early, like 4 a.m. He works out, he meditates, and he's basically just like a really hard hustler, grinder. Get the job done, which I really respect. I also found out he has a degree in history and a master's degree in teaching. So it looks like he was sort of following in his parents' footsteps, but then deviated off that course into trading. And he's been trading for about 2 decades now, which is crazy, because I don't really know how old this guy is. But he's obviously been at it a while. So anyway, if you go to this article and you go and click on here, you'll get taken to this webinar, which is awesome. So it's him talking about the fix to how this market, so everybody knows this market's been horrendous for trading, and Ben's been doing really well, it sounds like, and he reveals like his strategies in this webinar, so I'd definitely go and check it out. There's a pitch at the end, I think, for a discount on Mobile Closer, so it's worth going and checking this out and seeing if you can sign up for Mobile Closer through that link. So anyway, Mobile Closer, this is a screenshot of the dashboard for Mobile Closer. And you can see there's a live 3 p.m. trade where he goes live and talks about what he's seeing, what the trade could potentially be. There's a bunch of video lessons which are pretty interesting, but I certainly wouldn't say they're the main attraction for this particular service. Then there's a recording of all the different live sessions he's done before, which is really useful. You can go back through those and check them out. Then there's this fixed trade checklist, or the fixed trade checklist. So that's really interesting, and something I've not really seen before is like going through all the details, so you kind of write out what the trade plan is really carefully the same way every single day, which is definitely very interesting to see him doing that. He even has you like sign it, which is pretty interesting. Anyway, like I said, the main feature is this hour-long stream, and here's a screenshot from one of the streams. You can see it's very high quality. So he has this giant like background up, and then his little face down here as he talks, and he shows you the charts in high detail and talks what he's seeing and what his strategy is for particular tickers. It takes about 20 minutes for him to find a trade, so generally he's not around for the whole hour. So it's not like you have to be glued to your computer the whole time. It takes about 20 minutes, it seems like. And he goes through the different tickers, and once he announces what trade looks good, it's not super clear whether he's actually getting into the trade or not. It's more of like a due diligence research. I'll probably take this, but this is what you might want to look at kind of thing. But he does include all the details like the contracts, the target and stop loss. So this is an example on WMB here. Posts it as he's talking about it, so it comes up in the Raging Bull dashboard. Mobile Closer. Trade is WMB, April 22nd calls, $35 calls here at 50 cents. Target is 60 plus, and the stop is below 34.65 on the underlying stock. So pretty simple and easy to follow really. The cool thing is he also releases a morning update email, so here's an example of one of those. So you might be holding the thing overnight, and out comes, in the morning, you're like, oh no, what's my thing doing? In this case, you can see he gives an update on the position, It was set up in a bullish pattern, however, is Ethan, who seems to be like his sidekick. Ethan told you yesterday live, I had no internet. Ultimately, I found resistance. So he kind of goes through like an overview of what's going on in the trade. Pretty easy. So one thing everybody always asks is how is he finding like the trades and things, and you know, I've watched a few of these now and I'm still learning his process, but he is a technical trader. He uses technical analysis for, you know, finding these particular trades. It doesn't look like he doesn't really look at like fundamental stuff at all, which isn't surprising given these are like short-term swing trades. So you get one of these every single day, and usually you know the expectation is you'd be out the next day, but there's a chance you'd be holding these for more than one day. So he looks at a combination of the exponential moving averages. So his particular ones are the 8 and the 21 and the 34 EMA. And he uses the 8 EMA as a momentum indicator. The 21 EMA is like more of a trend indicator. And then his stop loss, or the point where, you know, is like the line in the sand for the trade to be like on or off, is the 34 day EMA. So I've seen him use it as a stop loss, but I've also seen him as a perfect place to add to a trade, where he knows that he's going to cut that trade if it breaks the 34-day EMA. So you'll often add there, which is pretty interesting. He also uses all the other technical patterns that you'd expect, like flags and wedges and bullish retracement and volume and TTM squeeze and relative strength, RSI, and all this stuff as well in his analysis. So the larger cap stocks I've seen him do is Apple, Pins, Meta, IBM, AMD, that type of thing. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Pretty simple, but also like just having that experience of him talking you through it is pretty good, especially if you're new. Like I said, there are some video lessons. They range from everything about how to manage risk with trading options and how to place options using Thinkorswim. Very general, broad, kind of disjointed, and by a guy called Dennis Moffat, who we've heard of but don't really know much about. I saw him on the Raging Bull platform for a while, and those videos are still up. So like I said, Lotto X is his other service that I'm in, and I'm enjoying a lot. I've been posting my results for that in this article right here. And at this point, I think I probably prefer Lotto X just because it's lower cost. It's only $45 a month. And the trades are more exciting to me, and they're the right amount. I'm only looking to take these trades once a week, and for Lotto X, they come out on Thursdays, and just taking a quick day trade on some of his high volatility options contracts. So for me, Lotto X is my favorite one at the moment. So if you go to this article, you can also find links to get to Lotto X as well to sign up. So overall, I do like Ben's commentary on Mobile Closer. I like listening to these webinar or short webinar live stream events. So you learn a lot just from listening to an experienced trader like Ben talk through like all the different thought processes on his particular tickers and things. It is pretty great. I mean, I'm starting to take the trades. I'll probably update this article as I go. It's a lot of work to take trades and update every article and every service of Raging Bull though, so it might not be one that I prioritize. I think we'll see how it goes, but if you check back onto this article, the hope is you'll start to see me updating a track record and actually taking trades on this service. But yeah, so that's all I have to really say about Ben Sturgill's Mobile Closer at Raging Bull. I think it's worth checking out. If you don't join, at least it's worth checking out the webinar, the fix. He talks about what most people are doing wrong, like in this market, and what he's doing that he's found is working well in this market as well. So pretty useful. Alright guys, till next time. Cheers.